guy. Oh, look at that. All sorts of technical difficulties, MJ.
Oh
All
my
sorts.
gosh.
All sorts. What's up, guy? Hey, Third Down Thursdays coming to you on a Tuesday afternoon. We are live. MJ's live at Radio Row right now. I'm actually on my lunch
Yes,
break from
sir.
work. But MJ, how's it going down? Or yeah, down there.
It was going great until all of a sudden my computer refuses to connect to internet,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
not good.
don't know what's going on. Because it dropped off. The internet dropped my phone and my computer at the same time. So
I
I don't know if
wonder.
it's.
I wonder if it's what they told us previously about having to pay for the internet or what.
I don't.
I
It
don't know.
shouldn't be because my phone was just on like the Wi-Fi
Hmm.
that they give everyone,
Hmm.
and then I have my computer hooked up to the Ethernet because there's the one cord here. Um, and I don't know. I'm not a tech genius like you, so I'm trying to figure it out,
So,
but I'm not really sure
well,
exactly what to do.
well, Tech Genius. Since related topic, Tech Genius. So you know how I bought those wireless headphones and everything like that. They don't work, and you connect them to a dongle. They only work when they're directly connected to the laptop because that it gives it power. So I'm like,
The
awesome,
wireless what?
the wireless mic that I have. So
Really?
yeah, so my backup plan is my headset here for my PS5. So PlayStation coming through in the clutch. But MJ, we have better things
That's
to
fine.
talk about. We have better things to talk about, my guy.
Oh yeah.
So I'll let you expand a little bit on the Packer front because obviously that's getting a lot of pub right now. I don't know if you've had a chance to see or hear anything from ESPN, but they're
A little
all over
bit.
this. Right, they're all over this right
Ooh.
now.
Hold up, my
Oh,
internet might be working. Give me a sec. Let me see if
uh
I can get in. I
oh.
I did a tech thing. I forgot the network and then I
And then
rejoined it.
yeah. Very basic things about
Oh.
it.
Oh.
Oh, are we good now? Are we
Oh.
good now?
Bruce, talk about the Bears. I'll be back in 60 seconds.
Absolutely sounds good to me, my guy. All right, so if you guys have not had a chance to see this, the nice thing is we've been able to get access at the NFL Combine to a lot of areas that scouts are at, that GMs, coaches, and all that are at. So cool thing right now. So I was able to watch the Eberflus and Ryan Poles press conference, and some of the things that I took away from the Ryan Poles press conference was Justin Fields is their quarterback. And I know national media is going to try to spin this and say there wasn't a full commitment. And okay, I can kind of see that, but he did say he plans on Justin Fields being under center for 2023. Perfect. That's how it should be. I could see why and where the national media would spin that and be like, that's a non-committal way of saying he's your quarterback. He's our quarterback. He's the Chicago Bears quarterback. Here, so I want to give you guys a couple quotes that Ryan Poles said here. Ryan Poles did allude to no teams have actually called on Justin Fields, which I find kind of hard to believe, but especially since there's been multiple people, multiple conglomerates saying that Justin Fields is not going to be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears next year, and how Justin Fields should be traded. They should be looking into Bryce Young. I just don't Bryce Young. I just don't see that scenario happening. Todd McShay was quoted as saying that basically if Bryce Young is the quarterback, it's just an absolute death sentence for a GM. Again, to go back to what I was saying, though, I would definitely just keep Justin Fields because Justin Fields is a franchise type quarterback for the Chicago Bears. No team. We did talk about that. So this is pretty good though. All right, so here's another non-committal way for. Oh, MJ's back in the waiting room. I don't know if I need to add him or not, but there he is. So
Maybe,
it
maybe
looks good.
we're
But
gonna
here's
test.
another non-committal thing that was said by the Houston Texans GM Nick Caserio. Speaking about having the number 2 pick and the Chicago Bears having the number 1 pick, if a team is in front of you and you're only talking about one player, well, that's going to leave 2 or 3 players. Makes sense, right? Come on now. Come on. What is that? That's the art. Okay, so I actually said this in my tweet. That's the art of saying something without saying something, which is super, super pathetic and super sad. Looks like MJ's still having a little problems with his.
I'm
Oh,
gonna
wait,
lose my mind.
are we good? Are we good?
I doubt it. I doubt it. If it drops one more time, I'm gonna go back to my phone and set my phone up on a tripod. I don't know
Got it.
what's going on. I'm gonna have to figure this out. Anyway, keep going.
Anyway, so no, we were just talking. I was just talking about how Nick Casario, very non-committal things, and how GMs and coaches are doing a very good job of saying something without saying anything at all right now, and that's exactly
Oh,
what the NFL scouting
yeah.
combine is. It's just a whole bunch of like
You're telling
pie in
me.
the sky bullshit, and they just throw out different information. You just have to really weed through all of that, and I think we've done a pretty decent job of it. So again, just because, so MJ, just to catch you up briefly on what I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was talking about how the scenario in which Justin Fields would be traded. Ryan Poles already said that he's going to be the quarterback for 2023 under center in 2023. And I said that national media will spin that and say essentially it was a non-committal way of saying Justin Fields is our quarterback. I don't believe it. I think national media is just trying to spin it in a way to create a story. So that's my take on it. I don't know what what your thoughts are. I mean, you're there, so you're probably hearing a lot more. So, have you heard anything about Justin Fields being traded?
I haven't heard anything about that specifically, but let me just speak real quick. I was not in front of Ryan Poles when he was talking about Justin Fields because Brian Gutekunst was talking.
Right.
However, I was there when Matt Eberflus was talking about Justin Fields, and
I was getting to that.
I want to make a comparison between the way that Brian Gutekunst talked about Aaron Rodgers and the way that Matt Eberflus talked about Justin Fields. Okay,
I agree with that. That's pretty good.
Brian Gutekunst was asked, "Do you want Aaron Rodgers back?" And he goes, this is a very different answer than he said in December. In December, after the last game, he said, "Absolutely, I do want Aaron Rodgers back. I want all my players back. I want to run this team back." Today, Brian Gutekunst said, "Well, there's a lot of conversations that need to happen before I can answer that question. We need to talk to Aaron." Correct.
Right.
So then, 30 minutes later, Matt Eberflus is asked point blank by a reporter, "Are you ready to commit to Justin Fields as your starting quarterback in 2023?" And he didn't say yes.
I got his quote.
He didn't say yes. And so, Bruce, if I'm here's a couple things. Number one, if I'm Justin Fields, that has to hit me in the gut because your team has the number one pick.
I think the conversation has already happened, though.
The things that we're hearing about some of these quarterbacks, Bruce, there are quarterbacks in this draft class that teams really love. And so the fact that your general manager and your head coach in different ways both said, "Yeah, we're doing our homework. We're looking into these quarterbacks." If you had let's just go back to the second year of Patrick Mahomes, or the second year of Aaron Rodgers, or the second year of some of these incredible quarterbacks, you would not have heard their general managers or their head coaches saying, with the number one pick, we're going to look at those quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I think the scenario though is different though from each of those examples that you gave, because there's been no team that's ever had the draft capital that the Bears have, and there's no team that's ever had the cap space that the Bears have at the same time.
Yes.
So I think that they're leaving the doors open for the possibility of a trade being made, because I think that's a more likely scenario.
Which I agree. But that same scenario, Matt Eberflus even said the same thing himself. His exact quote was, "With the financial resources and the draft resources we have, it is, it's our duty to keep every option open." And so I would be wary of any Bears fans or really any media jumping to either conclusion that, hey, Justin Fields is getting shipped out, or, hey, Justin Fields is the guy no matter what, because legitimately, Bruce, I don't think the Bears have made that decision. I think there's a lot of things. What is the offer they can get for that number one pick? We'll talk about that in a second.
Right.
What could they get for Justin Fields? And part of what they can get for Justin Fields, there are other dominoes that have to fall. Rodgers, Carr, Lamar Jackson, other dominoes would have to fall, because no disrespect to Justin Fields, he's not in that tier of some of the other veteran quarterbacks that may be available, which isn't disrespect. It's just he hasn't proven himself
I don't think you pay that money
Yeah,
though. You don't pay that. You don't pay that money for any of those quarterbacks right now, in my opinion. I just don't think you go that route because if so, you would also have to have a team that's ready to win to bring in any of those quarterbacks. And this obviously the Bears
correct.
aren't ready to win, and
Correct.
Fields is on his rookie contract, so I think you just ride that out. So
But
to kind of speak also to what you were saying, I do agree with you on like just a little bit of the non-committal that Eberflus had in his conversation, but because I think Eberflus has done a little bit better job and he's a little bit more seasoned when it comes to the interviewing process and being a part of that process. Whereas
yeah,
I think Poles is like still kind of getting his traction with media. I think he's an extremely awesome. I won't go that far yet. I
he's
think he is a
he's very
capable.
personable.
Right. I think he's a capable GM, and I think he's still getting his feet when it comes to dealing with media and having a large conglomerate of media in front of you. However, I think that there was more truth to what Poles said than what Eberflus said. I think Eberflus is keeping things very close to his chest. However, there was a quote, and I don't know exactly what it was, MJ, but there was a quote from Ryan Poles a few weeks ago talking about how any kind of moves or anything like that that's going to be done with the franchise, they're going to be filling in Justin Fields in on them. So I don't think you
Yeah,
release that. I don't think you release a statement like that without. And I agree, they should do their due diligence on all these players. They need to. They should do that because in previous regimes, it wasn't happening.
right.
so
But
go ahead.
okay, so hear me out, Bruce. Right, um, you and I were able to kind of figure out what the price for the number one pick may be, and
Right.
just hear me out
Bare
through
minimum.
this. Hear me out through this thought process, right? So
Okay, go ahead.
if it takes a minimum of 2 first-round picks to take the Bears down from that spot, that seems to be the asking price. That seems to be what the Bears will want at minimum. Everything else is kind of depending on the team, etc. Right? Go back to what you said a couple weeks ago. There have been NFL scouts and NFL GMs who have flat out said if Justin Fields was in this draft class, he would be the number one pick. He would be the
Yeah.
number one quarterback.
Yeah.
And so if you're sitting here thinking that, well, then by default, the market for Justin Fields is at 2 first-round picks or better. And if the Bears do their homework, if the Bears look at everything available and say, hey, we have all this cap space, we could get even more draft capital, possibly trade down to 2, still get a quarterback that we like, depending on who Houston may want to take, get draft capital for Justin Fields, and reset our timeline of paying our quarterback. I think that's something they have to consider. Now, I'm not saying
but
they
you don't know
should
what you're
trade
getting.
Justin Fields, and I understand that. I understand that. But it's something that they have to consider because they have so much money. And
Right. I
you
get
can
what you're
dish
saying.
out, you can use more of that money in good faith if you don't have to pay your quarterback in a year and a half, which the Bears will have to do if they keep Justin Fields.
So traditionally, and to be honest, and so I think, and this is a kind of a proven thing. I don't have the numbers in front of me, obviously. However, third year quarterbacks on their rookie deal are it's kind of like the make it break it type year.
Yeah.
So I don't think that I get what you're saying. I get the thought process, and I've read stories and I've heard things from ESPN. People are a lot smarter than I am about this kind of stuff. I just don't think that you step away from a guy who is as dynamic of a playmaker. And yes, it is by running the football right now, but that just still creates absolute havoc for a defensive team, like scheming for him. I don't think you go away from that yet. I think right now, next year, like the book on him is going to be if the Bears do keep him. I think the book on him is going to be make him throw the ball to beat you. And in order for them to do that, and in order for the Chicago Bears to complete their evaluation process of Justin Fields, you have to build around him. Give him an offensive line, give him another wide receiver, and just give him those 2 things. Give him those 2 things so that way you can complete the evaluation process for this man. Because I think it's incomplete right now in the scheme of it.
And I do agree with you, Bruce, as well. And I want to pull a quote from Pete Carroll in his press conference today.
I saw that. I just saw that.
He was talking about Geno Smith and how quickly a lot of the media jumped to conclusions, especially since he was drafted to New York and he was playing there. And he said, hey, I think a lot of the times in this league, coaches and media alike jump to conclusions way too often, especially when it comes to the quarterback position. So he was praising Geno for being able to work through that et cetera. And so I totally agree, Bruce, that I don't think we've seen the best of Justin Fields in the slightest. I think that if you do build a roster around him, he has a good offensive line, he has good playmakers around him. We've seen what he could do with an O-line and good receivers at Ohio State. Now, obviously, he has to translate that to the pro game.
Right.
And if I were the Chicago Bears, don't get me wrong, I'm saying they need to consider these options. I'm not saying they should pull the trigger on them, but I'm saying those options need to be considered, because if you don't and Justin Fields flops, those are the kind of things that make you lose your job in the NFL. If they just flat out said, first and foremost, first thing this offseason, Justin Fields is our guy. We're trading the number 1 pick right away. We're going to take a defensive player at 4, right?
Right.
Those are the kind of things that make you lose your job in the NFL. It's just such a messy situation that I just think we need to keep an eye on it a little bit, because also keep in mind how much people overpay for quarterbacks. And so that, who knows, they might get thrown a deal, Bruce, that they say, I can't really say no to that.
Right. And I get what
happens.
I completely agree. I do agree with you. And I think to be a successful organization in the NFL or in any like professional league, you have to do your due diligence when it comes to scouting, especially when you have the opportunity to get, a first pick. So no, I agree with that. I agree with that evaluation process. Do I necessarily think that they should pull the trigger on anything? No, unless, again, it goes back to what they previously said like 2 weeks ago. If something blows them away, then the opportunity might come to fruition. But all right, MJ, I think we should move on to the Green Bay Packers. I know this is a topic that you're going to absolutely love, and I know that we could spend a whole bunch of time on this. But keep in mind, I'm on my lunch break right now from work.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I got stuff to do later as well. But so Brian Gutekunst, Packers GM, talked to media today. He actually talked to some of the local media before he made his national media appearance. And Bruce, the general theme I got was that there are two things. Number one, and I tweeted this out, put this on our account, like I'm putting it everywhere. This does not seem like a general manager that is prepared to bend to the will of a 4-time MVP quarterback. Okay? Because I asked Brian Gutekunst specifically, hey, you guys were below expectations last year. What position groups need to be upgraded to make up that difference next year? And he said, we got to take a big look at tight end, because we're going to have guys, I believe the exact quote was, our guys in that room are not going to be experienced. Right. Which means Robert Tonyan and Mercedes Lewis, 2 of Rodgers' best friends in Green Bay, are probably gone. He also mentioned the safety room and the secondary, which means Adrian Amos, who had his contract voided a few days ago while Aaron Rodgers was in his little hobbit hole. Adrian Amos will probably be gone. And so, Bruce, you're looking at a lot of veterans that are friends with Aaron Rodgers, that if 12 was in charge, those guys would be back this year. And if 12 was returning and he was in charge, those guys would be back this year. And so whether or not the Packers are going to look Aaron Rodgers in the eye and say, hey,
get out of here,
leave, I don't think they're going to do that. But I think what they're doing is just hinting, giving him a little nudge, saying, listen, we're going to go in the direction that we want to go. We tried giving you some say in some roster decisions. It didn't work out. Randall Cobb was not able to perform up to even how little money he was getting paid. Okay. Mercedes Lewis, all he could do was block. Robert Tonyan was not able to recover from his ACL injury the way Rodgers claimed he would. Yeah. And so you're looking at, in NBA terms, lay GM, right, with LeBron. He's been able to win championships doing that. Aaron Rodgers didn't. And as much as I give, so many people crap for, judging a quarterback by championships or not, GMs get judged by championships, and they should,
100%.
Because they're the one building the roster.
Organizations get judged by championships.
Exactly. And so at the end of the day, Gutekunst hasn't won a championship yet. And if he wants to stay the GM of the Green Bay Packers, he's going to need to make some changes. Same thing for Matt LaFleur as the head coach. So they haven't explicitly had those conversations with Rodgers yet. But there was nothing Brian Gutekunst said that, just jumped out at me as, hey, I really think Rodgers is going to be back. We asked him, Matt Schneidman asked him, where do you see next year going for Jordan Love? And without prompting, Brian Gutekunst said,
very positive.
Yeah. he spent at least 45 seconds rambling on about how much he improved, how impressive he was, the intensity that he had never seen in the building before from
Oh
Jordan
yeah. Okay.
And
I hope that was from Jordan Love because
it
is that
was
kind of a backdoor shot though at
no.
Rodgers? Like no.
No, I have the video. If you listen to the quote, he says, we saw intensity week to week that we hadn't seen prior. And
okay.
I assume that means prior from Jordan Love. I don't think that was a public shot at Rodgers. I may be wrong, but I don't believe so. But the other thing he said was, and this was unprompted, he said the next step for Jordan is to start.
Yeah.
And so
he's going to have to.
He also said, we're looking forward to see Jordan develop in Green Bay next year. And so if the next step is for him to start, and they're looking forward to him developing in Green Bay next year, A plus B equals C, Bruce.
I was about to say, man. So if you're going to, all right, so I'm putting you on the spot, MJ. February 28th at 12:52 p.m. Central Time, 1:52 p.m. Eastern Time, where you're at right now, MJ. Does Aaron Rodgers quarterback the Green Bay Packers next year?
No.
I agree.
I
agree.
I don't currently see a world in which that happens. And here's the other reason. They would have to make, because the style of play with Aaron Rodgers would be so much different than with Jordan Love under center. Brian Gutekunst would have to produce a master class in general managering this offseason to get the Green Bay Packers to a place where they could win a championship with Aaron Rodgers. That's no diss to Aaron Rodgers. It's more a diss to his contract that he got handed. And it's more a diss to just the current style of play that an almost 40-year-old quarterback plays.
Right.
It's a lot easier to win with a young mobile quarterback who doesn't get paid any money. So if Gutekunst has to pick which type of roster he wants to build, of course he's going to pick the one where he has $55 million extra dollars to play with.
No, I agree 100%. It's interesting that you say that too, because that kind of transitions us to our next area of conversation about how 4 teams have been linked to Aaron Rodgers. And MJ, correct me if I'm wrong, it was Colts, Commanders, Jets, and what was the 4th?
Raiders.
Raiders, thank you. In likely scenarios, I just think it'd be more beneficial to the Jets to be the team to have them, because in my opinion, I think that they're the closest team to having any kind of playoff impact. I don't know, MJ, like what do you think?
So there's the classic mantra that you don't want to trade your MVP quarterback to the same conference, right? Because the Packers really don't want to have to deal with Rodgers in the playoffs, even if they want him out the door, hypothetically.
Right.
You really don't want to deal with him in the playoffs, right? Just in case. Okay.
Right.
So that's why they had always said probably not going to San Francisco. That's why the Washington one is really interesting to me. And first, I've been told they're prepared to not only offer 2 first-round picks, but outbid anybody who is, involved in the Aaron Rodgers sweepstakes if that were to happen. And so to me, it's really interesting because you're essentially putting Green Bay on the spot saying, hey, I know you don't want to trade into the conference,
but guess what? We're going to give you everything we got.
Overpay.
Yeah.
We're going to overpay to entice you.
And if I'm Rodgers, and honestly, if I'm Rodgers, I don't want to even go to the AFC. And I said that in my opinion, I think he's going to go with the Jets. However, to speak to that, I don't want to go through Joe Burrow. I don't want to go through Patrick Mahomes. I don't want to go through Josh Allen. I don't want to have to go through Justin Herbert. I don't want to go through all these young stud-ass quarterbacks.
I would much rather go through Dak Prescott, Kirk Cousins, and Jalen Hurts.
Exactly.
Especially because, Bruce, the Philadelphia Eagles coaching staff has been stripped bare.
Or Jordan.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, because if I have to look at guys who have been to AFC championship games versus only one guy in the NFC, correct me if I'm wrong, that has been to a championship game, and that's Jalen Hurts. Am I missing something? Well, I guess if Jimmy G stays in the NFC.
But yeah, but we don't even know if he's going to be starting.
Right.
Like Trey Lance, Brock Purdy.
Bruce, there's a chance that there's one quarterback in the NFC that has been to a championship game.
And that opens up significantly. So from a competitive standpoint, the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, if they have a lucky ass offseason, like you have an opportunity to do something. Anyway, so to go back to the original point, I'm sorry, I was becoming selfish and excited. You know, it's
You're
that
fine.
time frame.
By the
It's
way,
that time
by the
when
way,
I hear
Bruce,
about the Bears. Yes,
by the
yes.
way, real quick, just to your excitement, Dan Campbell will be here speaking tomorrow by the time you get here.
Oh, let's go! That's my dude.
I know.
That's my dude. I
I know
can't
you're
wait. I
excited
can't
about
wait.
that.
I'm totally gonna talk to him too. I'm like, hey, so what's your workout regimen?
Tell him to come on. You know, grab him after he
100%.
walks off.
100%. I'll be like, hey man, can you jump on with us Third Down Thursdays? I'm a huge Bears fan. My the co-host is a Packers fan, but we don't give a shit. We're still, you know, I love him. I think he's great.
We're Dan Campbell fans around here, Bruce. It's okay.
Big time. But MJ, well, we got 3. So we do like a quick fireside chat. I mean, I don't know how many people are watching, but I guess we could talk about really anything we want to. With this.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing that I this will be one of the biggest storylines this week. This is really the only last piece of news I have.
Okay.
It's so the biggest storyline for the quarterbacks is if Bryce Young weighs in at 195 or above, he is QB1. Okay.
Yep. Agree.
There's no debate about it. However, and as dumb as it may sound, if he weighs in at 194 or below, there's a chance that any of the other 3 top quarterbacks could walk out of this weekend as
number
QB1.
1. Yep.
And legitimately, Bruce, depending on the number on the scale for Bryce Young, that could alter the entire draft order.
So
because there are teams who will trade up to number 1, as far as I'm told, to get Bryce Young, but they might not trade up to number 1 to get Levis or Richardson or Stroud. So that could just completely blow everything up.
So there's been reports out there that I read this morning, MJ, that someone who is a trainer for Young was disappointed in a weigh-in that he had recently. So I don't know specifically who it was, because unfortunately it was me like listening to something on the side and like not like I was actually working. So there's that's out there, but then there's also comments about how Young has that type of mentality, that killer mentality that you want to have in a quarterback coming out of any kind of draft class. So it'll be interesting to say the least. And I mean, it sucks that we're not going to be able to get to see him throw. But at least we'll be able to see the measurables, and we'll be able to speak on that in the coming days too. So
yes, it's going to be very exciting. And Bruce, you'll be here tomorrow.
Tomorrow. My goal is to get there around 11:30.
Okay.
So that's the goal. I'll probably check in first at the hotel, and then after I do, I can't check in.
I don't think you can check in.
Right.
At 11 a.m.
Because I can get my parking pass there, so I can park and everything like that, not have to worry about it. Sure. But then after that, man, like it's let's get after it. Let's go. Let's have some fun, and let's break some news, piss some people off, tell people, have people ask who the fuck is Coach Bruce, and have fun with this, man, and have fun with this, and get the rest of the background set up, because we gotta let motherfuckers know. We gotta let them know it's Third Down Thursdays, baby.
Yes, I'm very excited for that. It'll look a lot better, and definitely bring those stools, because we only have 2 chairs, so definitely bring those stools.
I'm sitting on it right now.
Perfect. And we've got a few people already lined up who are going to come talk to us in the next couple of days. So
I'll sit on the stool. When it's our guests, we'll let them sit on the chair.
Honestly, I think the stool might be better. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? Oh, well, fair enough.
More comfy, but it's okay.
Fair. Well, but you know what, MJ? You know what's even more comfortable? When you have good insurance.
Amen.
And good insurance is great to come by.
Erie Insurance says here's to the grown-ups who move, mortgage, mow, and still bust a move. But does your home insurance still fit? Erie helps you protect the home you've grown into, all at fair prices that are often less than the other guys. So how do you find the right coverage? Magic. Nope. Local independent agents who get to know you like this.
Your local Erie agent is Building Block Insurance Group. Get a quote today at 704-464-4544.
Erie Insurance.
And when you contact Jeff at jeff@mybbig.com, let him know that Third Down Thursday sent you. Or if you want to, you can give him a call at 704-465-4544. It's amazing that I remember that shit now.
That's impressive.
Also, real quick, guys, real quick, I gotta do it. I gotta get the pub out there real quick. This trip is also sponsored by All About Personnel, Staffing with Integrity. Give us a call.
Boom.
Boom. All right, MJ. Well, good stuff so far. I'll keep pounding away at headquarters, get everything set up. I got to get back to work though. But I'll be packing and getting everything ready to go for tomorrow.
Sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys, and follow us on Twitter, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, and all that jazz.
All right. And with that, we will see y'all later. Talk to you tomorrow. Bruce, be safe, and I'll see you in the morning.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Hey, MJ.